Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Heavily Biased Talks Fantasy Sports. Today, Ross and Jaron are joining me again, and we are going to be talking about not only our teams, the questions we have. We're going to try to help each other out if we can, and we're also going to talk about daily fantasy, which plays we think are going to win you some money this weekend. So first, let's start. Ross, I know you had some questions. When you were drafting your team, you knew that this was going to come up because you had two quarterbacks that are kind of similar, so tell us a little bit about that problem you're running into.
Yeah. So I guess I'll give y'all credit. You called it out. Deshaun Watson, Tua. What kind of games am I going to be playing? Who am I going to start this year? You guys said that was going to be a question every week, and so here's week one, and I'm like, damn it, am I going to start? Is it going to be Tua or Deshaun? I'm going to tell you what I want to do. But I do want to go the experts on this one. So I want to start Deshaun. I picked him earlier. Tua was a keeper. So again, if my team is going to be a breakout team, I got to trust in Deshaun. But it is week one, and I do want to win.
Yeah, I personally think if you have unless you have like Mahomes or Josh Allen, one of these like top 5 guys, I think most teams are probably going to have those situations where they're going to be looking at their backup some weeks just based on matchup. Maybe the guy, say you have Justin Herbert and he's going against Baltimore's defense or something like that. And then you have Kirk Cousins on the bench and he's going against Jacksonville. I would say you start Cousins. Like whoever is the better option that week, don't be afraid to make those changes. Having said that, I would probably go with Tua, to be honest. I just think the Chargers are a much easier defense to score on. And I don't know, those division games are always weird because they're playing Cincinnati, right? Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah, those division games can always be weird, man. Like, if it was me, I think I'd probably go with Tua. But again, I don't know if it's going to be such a drastic difference either way. Jaron, what do you think?
I agree. I would go Tua. The higher point total for the week is, the Chargers versus the Dolphins. So I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes my strategy. Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate the advice.
I don't think either one of us are playing you this week, right?
No.
Okay, good. That works. I had one. Jaron, did you have any things on your lineup, either our league or any leagues that you're in, that you're kind of questioning one way or the other?
I had Sky Moore in our league on the bench, and due to the recent Travis Kelce news of the hyperextended knee, probably going to start Sky Moore now in my flex position. I think he's going to get. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 8 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown.
Wow.
Now, who is your other option?
Well, I was looking at Jamal Williams, the running back for the Saints, because they have no other running backs right now, and they're playing Tennessee. I was also looking at Gabe Davis playing the Jets. Sauce Gardner's probably going to be on
Diggs.
So Gabe Davis may see the second corner, but I feel more confident with Sky Moore if Kelce sits. I think even if Kelce does play, I'm still going to play Sky Moore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I tell you what would really worry me is if they, and see, this is what can happen so many times, man. I think we talked a little bit about it last week, is that say they have Kelce play, all right, and he's not 100%, which I don't think they'll put him out there week 1 if he's not, but say they put him out there and he's just a decoy. Like, he's not really running any routes to get open. He's just kind of there to just take up space. That can happen, and they seem to do that with receivers a lot, not necessarily the Chiefs, but just teams in general. So that would be my one worry about that. So, yeah, I think it would be one of those things where you just set it and just forget about it. You don't come back to it 10 minutes before kick or anything. You just set it and then just say whatever happens, happens. Having said that, I think I would probably, I don't know, man. That's tough. I think I'd probably lean towards Williams just because I know he's guaranteed to touch the ball 10, 12, 15 times maybe. Sky Moore, could literally get one touch, could get one target. You just never know. But yeah, that's always a tough situation, man.
Yeah. I'm kind of there with Burton, but I would say if Kelsey does not play, I think I put in more. You know, they're going to have to put up points. Who's going to put up the points? Can they really run it with Pacheco the whole time? And man, Jamal, the thing too with that is, don't they have two other running backs that could possibly play instead of Jamal, like really eat into his carries?
Well, they got
The rookie,
Kendrick Miller. Yeah,
he's
Kendrick
hurt.
Miller from TCU, but he's kind of banged up. I mean, I do think he'll get a majority of the touches. But again, you just never know with these split backfields how it's gonna pan out until it actually happens. For me, really the only question that I really have is in one of my flex spots, Michael Pittman versus Jacksonville or Cortland Sutton versus Vegas. I'm kind of I'm leaning towards Pittman just because I feel like that can be a high scoring game, and I don't know. I just have this feeling about Richardson that he's gonna be. I don't know. I just have a feeling that he's gonna be special this year until people get some film on him, you know. But again, I don't think either option is gonna doom me if I pick the other one. So
I might do Sutton because the Raiders have a horrible defense. And what other options does Russell Wilson have out there besides Sutton?
That's true. That is the one. That is the one positive for him is he's. I mean, he's not sharing touches with Judy for the foreseeable future. So it'll be something
this is the contract year for him. Like this is. They said he looks really good in training camp. He's trimmed down a little bit. He's lost some weight. So I might go with Sutton.
Yeah, this is gonna be something that 11:45, 11:55. I'm changing it for the last time, and I just throw my phone across the room so I can't look at it again. Which I do all the time. I'm always just, like I'll have my lineup locked in all week, and then I'll hear one little analyst say something in the background about, yeah, this guy was running some good routes last week. Oh shit, I gotta put in this guy that has 3 targets all season because Sal Palantonio told me to. So yeah, so that's really my only. I think everybody else is kind of solidified right now for week 1, so ready to get started. All right, so let's start off with. So now we're gonna kind of dig into Underdog and Draftkings, so daily fantasy. Jaron kind of turned us on to Underdog, which is basically you just pick like props. It'll give you a prop for each player. Some players have 2 or 3, and you just pick one, and then it just stacks. So for every one you get right, it just keeps stacking. So Jaron, tell us a little bit. Do you have some picks this week or some props that you really like through Underdog?
Well, if you get on Underdog earlier in the week, they usually give you a free prop. Like right now, I have Patrick Mahomes at higher than 0.5 total yards. So I'm probably going to get that.
That's pretty.
So usually that's a gimme. So if you usually sign into Underdog around Wednesday or Tuesday, they'll give you a freebie. So I actually teamed up. I did a 3 parlay. I did Patrick Mahomes, Jamar Gibbs. Total combined rushing and receiving yards 73.5 over. And
don't tell us what you picked. Just give it to us, and I wanna guess what you picked.
Okay. Well, and I also did Travis Kelce 7.5 receptions.
Well, under now.
Well, at the time earlier today, I did higher early this morning, before practice started.
So can you go in now and change it, or do you have to stick with it once you submit it?
It stuck with it once you submit it.
Oh man.
Now you can do an insurance one. You get less of a payout if you win, but you could miss one and still hit 2 and still get like $20 instead of 30.
That's not bad.
But I put $5 in, 3 picks.
How early do you have to choose? Like, could you submit your picks second before or a minute before game time?
Usually there's an hour cutoff before game time. And usually, once you get closer to game time, those odds get closer and smaller and smaller. So if you get them earlier in the week, you may get better odds or better percentages to get those
Yeah, because
overs.
look at the Kelsey thing. I mean, if he doesn't, even if he goes out there and he's not 100%, I mean, that number looks a lot different now.
And you look at Kelsey, just think about it. He's probably going to get 7 or 8 passes, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he'll at least get that many looks for sure. Yeah. So Ross, have you looked at that site yet?
I was looking at it. I haven't made any picks yet.
All right, so let me do mine, and then we'll kind of do the thing like you were doing with Jaron. I'm going to tell you the player and the prop, and you tell me if it's over or under.
All right.
So these are the ones that I like. Jacobs, 0.5 touchdowns.
Who's that? Can you say?
Josh Jacobs.
I would say over.
Yeah,
yep,
over.
I'm going over. Olave, 64.5 yards, receiving yards.
Ooh, I'm going over.
Over on that one too. McCaffrey, 0.5 touchdowns.
Over.
Henry, 0.5 touchdowns.
Over.
Madison, 0.5 touchdowns.
Over.
Under.
I'm going over on that too. So most of mine are
who they
touchdowns.
playing?
They're playing
Minnesota's playing Tampa Bay.
Tampa, yeah. So I just think it's one of those things where
that's probably good.
Justin Jefferson gets a
I think so. Either
PI
receiving
in the
or
end zone.
rushing.
They get it at the 1.
There you go.
I just think he's, and it's one of those things where I don't think he's going to lose that goal line touch to anybody. It's not like Kirk Cousins is going to go bootleg it or anything.
Quarterback sneak.
That's true.
He likes sneaks.
So those are kind of the ones I was looking at. It's pretty cool though. I looked at it, and it's also got a thing on there called Rivals where it'll give you 2 players, and then you can choose which one you think is going to have, it'll say receiving yards, and it might have Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase or something. And you pick one, and then you can do it through that too. So I think it's cool because it's different. It's a different thing than DraftKings. Like DraftKings, one guy on your roster that doesn't pan out can really
mess you up,
kind of screw you, especially if you're doing like a big tournament. But this is, you're just making 3 picks, or I think you can even make up to 2 and still win some money. So
at least two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gotta be at least 2. So yeah,
is there
so
a
that's,
minimum you have to put down?
I don't think there's a minimum, but I know right now there's a maximum of 10. I don't know if it's because I have a new account or what, but that was every time it just said the max was $10. So, but it'll keep multiplying. So I think if you get 5 right, it goes to like times 20 or something. It goes like times 3, times 6, times something, and then up to times 20. So
I want to bootleg off of your picks and do some picks like that real quick. I'm going to do them.
All right, man. Well, if you win some money, make sure that you give me the credit and all the headlines. All right. So last year, I've been doing DraftKings for a while, and I kind of found I used to do the $10 one, and if you were in the top, it was normally like 100 and something teams, and if you were in the top 10, then you win 100. Well, I found one better than that, one that I like even more, and it's the entry fee is $27, and if you come in the top 75, then you win 1,000, and it's a lot more teams. But I've hit on that last year. I hit on that like 4 or 5 times, and it's just one of those where I just feel like your odds are just a lot better, because if you have a really good team that does well, that's going to place in that top 10 for the other one, the $10 100 team league, you're probably going to place in the 75 one. I don't know why, it just seems to work out that way. So I've had weeks where my lineup wasn't great, and I still won money that way. So what I like to do is I like to do a couple of those big ones, and then I'll do a 50-50 where if I win it, I double up. I think it's actually called a double up. So that way I'm kind of, hedging my bets a little bit. So what I kind of want to look at now is, let's look at some values. So Jaron, you said you can look at the you can look at the salary sheet on DraftKings.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, log in there real quick, and I'll kind of go over some of the value picks I like, and then y'all tell me what are y'all's thoughts on that.
I do know that on Underdog, you could do a minimum bet of $1.
Oh, okay. And again, not everybody wants to waste a ton of money. I know some people that they just like to do it just to have something on the game. Like my dad's kind of that way. When he does DraftKings stuff, he'll put like $5. And again, it's not, for him, he just likes having something to kind of cheer for other than the team. So for me, for the values, I've got for quarterback, these are my 3 value picks. I got Howell from Washington at Arizona, or versus Arizona. It's actually at Washington, 4,900. I got Derek Carr versus Tennessee, 5,300. And then I got Richardson for 5,600 at home against Jacksonville. So those are kind of my 3 value plays at quarterback. I feel like, and normally when I build my rosters, I try to go cheap as I can on quarterback, because I feel like quarterbacks, even the cheap ones, can put up big numbers if it's the right defense. And I try to put most of my money on wide receivers. I just feel like that's where you're going to kind of separate yourself. So any of those guys you think I should be skeptical of? You think those are good value? And Ross, since you haven't got an account yet, typically I think the most expensive quarterback this week. So the most expensive quarterback is Lamar Jackson for $8K.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then guys like Tua 6,700. Kirk Cousins 6,300. Joe Burrow 7,100. So you're basically getting Howell for almost half of what you're getting Lamar Jackson.
Who is New Orleans playing?
New Orleans is playing Tennessee.
So that was the one that stood out to me when you said his name, because he's proven. I think he feels like he's got something to prove. With the other two, do you really know what you're getting? I know you've seen him in preseason, so the hype is there. And I liked watching Sam Howell against Baltimore. That was a fun game to watch, but again, this is preseason, so how good are they really? I don't know. I'm like you. I think Richardson could be really good. Who's their running back? Colts just seem like they're kind of just all not where they should be at this point of the season already. So I would go with Carr. If you're asking for like an option, they all sound like good value, but the one who I think could actually turn that into a lot of points is going to be Carr.
Yeah, out of these 3, I am going to roll with Carr in more leagues than I will the other 2 for sure. He's the one I'm probably most confident in. And then at running back, I like, and these are just my value plays. So at the very end, I'll get to what my lineup will kind of look like. So I've got Brian Robinson versus Arizona, 5,100. Raheem Mostert at the Chargers, 5,400. And then Jamal Williams versus Tennessee. For some reason, I don't have his price on here.
5,100?
Yeah, that sounds right. So 5,100 for him.
That's a good value.
Yeah, I do feel like that game's going to be back and forth game. And if it gets high scoring, then I feel like he has a good chance to, score a touchdown. You're looking at 80 total yards, couple receptions. I mean, that adds up. And again, that's another thing that I think people, when they're new to daily fantasy, they look at a guy and they're like, man, that guy's not, like I have a guy in my wide receivers that he's for the bare minimum. And people will be like, man, that seems like a wasted pick. Well, not really. If you get something out of it, like anything he gives you is almost bonus, because you're getting him for such a cheap rate that if he blows up, then that's like huge value. But again, he only has to reach a very small threshold for it to be worth it. So my receivers, I've got Adam Thielen, 4,600. They're playing Houston? No. Atlanta. They're at Atlanta. I think that game could be a sneaky high-scoring game too. I don't know what the over-under is on that.
39.5.
Yeah, so I think that game could be a sneaky shootout. Dotson.
Those defenses are bad.
Yeah, Dotson versus Arizona. He's for 5K, and then
I like that.
and then Mims from Denver versus Vegas. He's 3K. I think he'll probably.
You could team up Dotson and Hal if you didn't want to do Carr, but you say you want to do Carr.
Yeah, and I'll have some leagues where I'll get the stacks here in a minute, but I'll have some leagues where I have Howell and Dotson stacked, and then I'll have Carr and like Olave or something. Like you always want to pair your quarterback with a receiver if you can. Now some guys don't need it. Lamar Jackson doesn't need it. Justin Fields doesn't. You don't have to do that because he's going to get a lot of his points through his legs. But I do like Mims for 3K. I just feel like his role is gonna be expanded with Judy out, and you just can't beat the value. Now he might be picked up by a lot of teams in this, but we'll see. If he hits, great. If he doesn't hit, then it doesn't kill you because so many other people are gonna have him too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where if you don't have him and he goes off, it could pretty much ruin you. So, and then tight end, I got Hayden Hurst for 3K, Dulcich from Denver for 4K, and then Juwan Johnson 3,900. Again, Carr, Johnson.
Juwan Johnson.
Yeah,
he's gonna score.
So,
watch it.
So I think those are good plays. And then my stacks, the ones I really like are Howell and Dotson, Carr, Olave, and then Cousins and Jefferson. If I ever pick Justin Jefferson, I'm almost always gonna go. Or let me reverse that. If I'm gonna pick Kirk Cousins, I'm always going to pair him with Justin Jefferson. Like, there's never a time, unless Justin Jefferson was hurt, and in that case, I wouldn't play Kirk Cousins.
Right.
But there's never a time where I'm going to pick Kirk Cousins and not Jefferson. And for the most part, that goes with most of the top-tier receivers. It doesn't make sense to not play him. Now, the only time that I might shy away from that is, say somebody's playing the Jets, and I know their one's going to be guarded by Sauce Gardner, then I might go with a number 2 because they might get more looks. So like Philly, I might do Hurts and Smith instead of Hurts and Brown, just because I feel like Brown will be shadowed by probably the best corner in the league the whole game. All right, so let's do kind of a rapid fire type thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you 2 players with their price tags. Both price tags are pretty close, within a couple $100, and then you're going to tell me which one you would rather have. So, Jaron, Herbert or Tua? Herbert's at 6,900. Tua's at 6,700.
Herbert.
Ross?
Yeah, I go Herbert.
Jaron, Lawrence at 6,500 or Cousins at 6,300?
Lawrence.
I'm going
Ross?
Kirk.
This one's a tough one. I think this is the toughest one of all of them. I'm going to go with Lawrence just because I feel like
potential.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does have a chance of being a higher scoring game than the Minnesota one. So if you're ever wondering, like you have a choice like that and there are 2 similar options, whatever game you think is going to be more high scoring, go with that one. And then Ross, Brock Purdy at 5,400 or Derek Carr at 5,300?
I'm going Derek Carr.
Purdy.
Okay. All right, so let's do running backs. And by the way, I would pick Herbert, Lawrence, and Carr on those. So running back, Ross, Etienne for 6,900 or Joe Mixon at 6,800?
And Jags are playing Indy. Ooh. How much was Etienne?
69.
And how much was the other guy?
68.
Yeah, I'm going Etienne.
Mixon. He's going to catch the ball more than Etienne is. Etienne is just going to run the ball. I think Bixby may be the goal line back in a week or two.
Maybe. The thing I do like about Etienne though is if he hits a crease, man, he's gone. And you get one of those, and you can't count on him. It's not something that I would go in thinking, okay, he's gonna do this no matter what. But he does have that potential. I would go with Etienne as well. Jaron, Aaron Jones at 6,300 or Cam Akers at 6,200.
Jones.
Ross?
Yeah, I'm going Jones too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jones too. I just feel like that game is. I feel like that game could be high scoring, but I also feel like it could be just one of those NFC North just battles, and they're just feeding him the rock 25 times. So give me that. And again, man, I like Akers, but sometimes he'll get 5 carries and then they'll go to someone else and won't come back to him the rest of the game.
Rams
so
are going to be
always
horrible.
Rams are going to be bad.
It's just always hard to. It's kind of like Kansas City in a way. Kansas City's kind of similar to that.
And everything I've seen with Jordan Love, they're easing him in. They're giving him some easy looks. So I think they're going to rely on both running backs for a while until they feel comfortable with Love.
Ross, Raheem Mostert at 5,400 or Brian Robinson at 5,100.
Oof. I'm going Mostert. That seems like a high-scoring game. Miami Chargers, give me Mostert.
I'm going to do the same. He's going to be starting.
Right.
Sad to say.
And that's the one thing I do like Robinson.
He had some good games last year.
I do like Robinson in this matchup, but I do feel like with Mostert, it's a safer play.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like his role is more defined than Brian Robinson's, and it could be one of those things where they're just going to ride the hot hand, and Gibson has a good first quarter, and they just keep feeding him. So I got one more for running backs. So Josh Jacobs at 7,700 or Derrick Henry at 7,800. Jaron.
I'm going to say Jacobs.
Yeah, I like Jacobs too. Ross?
Yeah, I think who's going to get more yards. As much as I like Denver's defense, they give up rushing yards. Man, so Jacobs could have a good day.
If I remember correctly, didn't Jacobs kill them last year? At least
he usually does. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when Derrick Henry plays Jacksonville? Is it Jacksonville or is it?
I know. Yeah, there's some teams.
It's one of them. It's one of them where every time he plays them, he gets like 202 touchdowns every single time.
Well, Houston, come on.
But it's not. I don't think it's Houston. It's either the Colts or Jacksonville. I can't remember which one, but it might be both. But all right. So let's go wide receiver. AJ Brown, 7,600. Keenan Allen at 7,300. Jaron.
Go Keenan Allen.
Ross?
I want to like Keenan Allen, man. It's what have you done for me lately? He got hurt last year and I had him on the team. AJ Brown seems like he built and continued to build throughout last year. So give me some AJ Brown.
Yeah, give me Brown on that one. I do have him on my team, so kind of a little biased pick there. But yeah, I don't know why, because I feel like he's been relatively healthy more than he's been hurt, but I feel like Keenan Allen, there's been so many games where first drive of the game, he'll get hit, and then he's just out. And that's just a killer, man. So, all right, so Ross, Calvin Ridley at 6,500 or Olave also at 6,500.
Ridley's been out almost 2 years. Give me Olave. I'm not sure. I'm sure he'll be okay, but there's just been too much time off for me to feel confident about that pick.
I'll do Ridley all day.
This one's tough for me. I have Ridley on my team. I do think just because
it's a quarterback.
Yeah,
Who's a better quarterback?
Yeah, but I do think that Tennessee's pass defense, at least last year, was so bad that you almost had to pick whoever they were going against that week. I do think that if there's an opportunity for them to have a touchdown for Ridley, they're going to draw something up for him. It just always feels like they kind of do that with a guy that comes back after a long, injury or something like that. So I don't think either play is bad, but give me Olave. I just feel like it's a little bit safer. All right, last one for the receivers. Jaron, Juwan Dotson at 5,000 or Adam Thielen at 4,600?
I'll do Dotson.
Yeah, give me Thielen. I think he's going to be a security blanket for Bryce Young for a while.
Yeah, give me Thielen as well. And again, I know we don't take much in preseason, but I did watch one of their preseason games, and
We probably watched the same game.
I feel like Bryce Young just is going to love Adam Thielen. I feel like the times where I watched him, he was just seeking him out all the time. And I do think that he's going to be huge for him this year in his growth. So, all right. So that's our pick. So I'm going to kind of run down my lineup, the one that I think the most. And again, this will probably change by the time the games roll around because I just do that all the time. So at quarterback, I got David Carr at 5,300. Running backs, I've got Eckler, 8,400, and Brian Robinson at 5,100. That's probably the one I'll change. Wide receiver, I've got Olave, 6,500. Also wide receiver, Justin Jefferson at 8,800. And Mims at 3K. At tight end, give me Juwan Johnson for 3,200. In the flex, I like Drake London for, looks like 5,400. And then the defense, this defense is one that I will run in every single matchup, and that's Washington. For, looks like 2,800.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna
I
kill
just think Arizona, backup quarterback.
Yeah.
They're a cheap price. I mean, Washington they're one of the lowest. Like when you start getting below 3K, you start just looking kind of for value.
Damn.
And of all those teams left, I feel like that's the one that's kind of the safest bet. Plus, Washington has a pretty good defense. Like their defense isn't bad. So we'll see. So yeah. So you guys, Jaron, you got any thoughts on that or any lineups you're looking to run?
I haven't looked at DraftKings yet. I'll probably wait. I'm gonna do some more underdog pick'ems over and unders. We'll find some more of those.
I will say this, man. I'm glad that you sent us that because I do like that because there's so many times where doing DraftKings where, especially in those big tournaments, if you can have one guy that was highly picked, you can have one guy tank for you, but if you have two, it's going to be really tough. You got to have just about everybody else on your team ball out to even have a shot. So yeah, I do like that it's just kind of you're picking over or under on everything. You don't have to worry about anything other than them hitting that number. So
right.
Very cool.
Especially those touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're going to be sitting there every time they get on the one, and then they quarterback sneak it. You're going to flip out, but
right. I am looking at. They're not all just layups. Man. There's some difficult decisions out there.
And just
no,
if
there
you
was
wait
some
closer
real
to game time, it gets kind of worse.
Yeah.
They still got the Mahomes 0.5 over under.
Well, that's like a gimme. They'll, like Jaron said, they'll give you basically a gimme if you sign up early in the week.
I mean, they have a Brock Purdy over 5.5 rushing yards. I think he'll go over 5.5 rushing yards, right?
See, there was one where, what was it? It was CJ Stroud over 14.5 rushing yards. And I started thinking, I was like, man, I don't think he ran a ton in college. I don't think they ran with him a ton. Okay. It's one of those things where 14.5 and you're thinking, oh, that should be easy. I don't think he runs it like Justin Fields runs it, or
and how many times is he going to get sacked?
Well, I don't know if that counts against it. I know in in college that counts against the rush totals, which to me is so weird.
Maybe that's what
I don't think it does that in the NFL. Yeah, I don't think that
it doesn't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So, is there anything that y'all want to add, or any questions that you want to kind of get answered before we sign off on this one?
Well, his name has come up a lot, so let me throw this out here for one of our last decisions. I've got a decision to make between Jamal Williams, who it seems like we're all kind of high on. Which is not bad because right now he is my starter. But I could also play Brees Hall. I only have to start one running back in this league. I drafted Jonathan Taylor. That may not work out. So Brees Hall's my number two, but I knew he was going to be worked in, but thought he'd have a couple weeks of Jonathan Taylor figuring it out. So now that he doesn't have it, I do have Jamal Williams. Who would y'all pick? Who would y'all put in there? Jamal Williams or Brees Hall?
And they're playing Buffalo, the Jets?
Yeah, Monday night.
Yep.
I'd probably do Jamal Williams. I don't think he's going to have any competition in that backfield. Like Chris said earlier, he's going to get a touchdown. He's going to get a couple receptions for like 40, 50 yards. He'll get some rushing yards, 70, 80. There's 14, 15 points right there.
Yeah.
I like the way Jaren adds up points. He's just like, he's going to catch a couple passes, 80-plus yards on those 2 catches, and then...
Exactly.
But I think I would agree. I just think Brees Hall coming back from injury, and again, that game could be a shootout. So maybe it's just, each team's just going back, throwing it 40 times. Yeah, give me the guy that I think can punch it in from 1 yard. And plus, Dalvin Cook's going to get some touches.
He has to.
There's no way they brought him in and they're not going to have a couple drives for him at least. So I just don't know what that split's going to be yet. And until that's another thing is, like, once you kind of figure out or you have a better idea 3-4 weeks in what the splits are going to be on these running backfields, I would say stay away from those if you're playing daily fantasy. Just stick to ones that are set in stone. So if you want to go Eckler, McCaffrey, those are the guys I would spend a lot of money on just because what their situations are. And even going down as far as like Mostert right now. Yeah, A-Chain can get some touches, but I feel like it's going to be Mostert's backfield for the most part. So just some things to think about. Jaron, do you have anything else?
No. I'm going to wait later on in the week until it gets closer and maybe do some more picks. But like you said, Chris, I'm pretty indecisive every Sunday. So I'm the worst procrastinator picking stuff. I'll look at a guy and be like, oh man, like Jamal Williams, I'm probably going to shoot myself if I don't start him. But then if Sky Moore goes off tomorrow or Thursday.
I always look at it this way because Justin, we kind of shoot our ideas off of each other. And I always tell him, like, okay, which one, if you don't play, like if you have a stud in and you don't play him, you're going to kick yourself. But if you have a guy that 1 in a million chance he's going to go off and you leave him on the bench, that's not quite as bad because you're still rolling with the guys that you think are going to have to get you to where you want to go. So that's kind of what I always do. But again, I'm real bad about it too. I mean, 11:30, I'm changing out my, like right now, I don't even have a tight end on my team because there's nobody I want to drop. And I'm looking at who's left in the.
What are you going to do with that?
Dude, I don't think I'm going to take a tight end week 1. Like seriously, because I just don't. I'm serious.
You're putting points.
But listen to this though. If I pick up somebody, there's no good options right now. Yeah. I feel like everything's a dart throw. So if I pick wrong, that guy gets.
Everett.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Ferguson, who's he gonna have to get rid of?
But that's what I'm saying. I'd rather give up 5 points overall than give up somebody, at least until I kind of see what the breakdowns are going to be. So it's, I mean, again, I'm sure I'll pick up one, but right now I don't, and it's just, and that's kind of the tough thing about a keeper league is you don't want to drop a rookie, even though it's probably going to be week 8 before he really starts putting things together. But
you can go over.
I'm kind of hoping Hyatt gets hurt and gets put on IR so I can throw him in my IR spot. That way I don't have to worry about it. But we'll see. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. Hopefully we answer some questions that y'all might have. Jaron, I already told Ross, please wait until I sign y'all off because the recording will mess up. So again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll answer them as quick as we can. And let us know who you're running with this week, what lineups you like, and we'll see you next time.